Guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're over on the YouTube account. So over the past year, we have seen an incredible amount of new content that has actually come to this game, including a lot of heroes, guys. So we're going to go through, we're going to do a year in review looking at 2022 as we get ready for 2023. We have a couple more days of this year left, guys, but overall, this year has been game changing, especially with the addition of the Awakened heroes that we have seen within AFK Arena. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, so a big shout out to AFK Inside. Now, they have done this since as long as I can remember. The last couple years, they've actually broken down exactly when we've had heroes released, when we've had them released, the frequency. They have been doing an incredible amount of data analysis when it comes to AFK Arena. So we're going to check out some of the heroes, guys, and I'm going to go right down here to the bottom right. That is right, guys. We got Peanut on 12/20, so December of 2021. So that was the last hero that we had actually seen within that year, guys. It was the very, very last hero. So we introduced 1/3, so that is right, guys, January 3rd, 2022. That was our first Awakened hero when we got the Awakened version of Taylene. And from then, I believe at this point, we have 6 Awakened heroes over the past year. But remember, guys, we did get a free copy of the Awakened version of Taylene when they introduced this system itself. Then going on from there, coming up to the top, one of the game changer, guys. Now, it has almost been a solid year since we have seen Scarlet. Scarlet is probably the most sought after hero with the damage. I mean, the utility for a regular light bearer hero is game changing, guys. When she came out, she replaced pretty much every meta comp that we've had within AFK Arena, which was kind of crazy when you looked at Cursed Realm, Twisted Realm, when you looked at boss fights, when you looked at the Abyssal Expedition. Scarlet damage just eclipsed everybody else that we had within all of those game modes. Now, followed by Baba Yaga, pretty unique with this hero. Now, overall, we do see her sometimes in Cursed Realm comps, but overall, very little utility that we see her in. Now, the big thing is when we do get a Dimensional Tower, she is a hero that was relatively easy to get if you just saved a little bit of resources, especially if you are free to play. You did get a copy of her. You can actually use her for quite a bit of crowd control. Damage is there if you build her out, but it takes a really high significant investment. Then we got Fane. Now, Fane was a hero, guys, very unique with the crowd control aspect that he has. Again, they're really getting to the point of requiring these heroes to have a very high investment is what we have kind of seen, guys. Now, from there, we got the Awakened version of Aziz, which we know not really used in anything short of the instant crowd control that he has. Then, of course, we did get our second, that is right, guys, our second support hero for the Mauler faction, which was a super disappointment to the faction. We had really hoped that we would get a hero like Salakai. Instead, we got a Lero, which again, nobody helped or nobody really built. Very niche within the tower itself. But overall, guys, if you don't have them, you're not really missing anything within AFK Arena. Now, continuing down here, we got Audrey. Now, due to the limited damage that we see within the Celestial Tower, that really drove Audrey to be a primary hero that is being sought after. In addition, she was used within Cursed Realm comps, which shortly replaced by Valoris, which we can see in actually a couple weeks at this point, or like 2 months. She was very short-lived within the Cursed Realm, but again, completely dominates when you start getting into 2 teams within that Celestial Tower. She is an absolute requirement when it comes to the damage that she is putting out. Now, from there, guys, we got Oku, of course, a Wilder tank, Wilder Tower, doing absolutely well. Outside of there, not really used in too many different game modes. Again, a very short stint when it came to the Cursed Realm, and then got completely dropped out. Then we got our third Awakened hero, which was the Awakened version of Thane. Now, overall, him, guys, probably still one of the best PvP heroes we have within this game, guys. Just absolutely dominating the PvP aspect. But short of that, the utility isn't really there. I mean, Treasure Scramble, of course, PvP, Legends Championship, the LC, PvP, Heroes of Espria, again, PvP. Anything related to kind of the ability to take out the heroes within a PvP aspect, guys, Thane is the primary go-to for pretty much, again, anything that is kind of in the player versus player aspect. Now, we get Valoris in here. Now, Valoris, again, Not a huge utility within the Hypogen Tower. We do see her in a couple of the Cursed Realm comps. She is another hero that takes a very, very high investment to really see the damage, to see a lot of the crowd control that she offers. Very cool story around her, but again, takes a pretty high investment, which brings us to Sonya. So when Sonya was released, guys, was broken, was absolutely broken as could be. They actually nerfed her over on the test server before release because her damage was through the roof while she was tanking, while she had damage mitigation. She was all around amazing. Now, as of today, still really strong within the PvP aspect because of the damage mitigation. Does do still a considerable amount of damage, even though she was nerfed. Works well in a couple different formations, mostly run with the Awakened version of Thane, which again works really well with PvP. Then we got Anasta. Now, Anasta, guys, is a hero you absolutely want to build. She is still used in a ton of different parts. PvP, again, Cursed Realm, looking at different formations, anything that utilizes the warrior, even the Temporal Rift, guys, she is a primary carry within those teams. Very, very strong within there. Then we get, of course, Kayleen within the Graveborn. Solid mage tank, which was kind of unique, offers a little bit of crowd control. Overall, guys, in the tower, Graveborn Tower works incredibly well. Outside of the tower, not really utilized too much. Then we get the Awakened version of Brutus. Now, Brutus, in my opinion, guys, was probably one of the big game-changing heroes. He is probably, again, looking at our utility that we did a little bit, he is probably the highest utility hero that we have within AFK Arena, which is very cool. So many different game modes that he has worked into, so many formations, including the entire PvP aspect. He is worked into those formations. And then we got Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc, another hero, super high utility. She has a lot. She has healing. She has crowd control. She has attack buffs. She has defensive buffs. Overall, guys, a very strong hero with a lot of utility. And this is looking at Volume 1. That is right, guys. Going back to version 1-1, which was in 2018 when the game was released. This is Volume 1 for AFK Arena, or AFK Arena, but AFK Inside, again, as they've been tracking this all the way down to version 1.11 with the release of our heroes. But you can see, guys, the V1.95 plus Volume 2. Let's hop over and take a look to the second part that we have had to add to this guide. All right, guys, and here it is, Volume 2. So we kind of continue up here in the top looking at Orin. As you can see, 8-1 Orin came out. Now, overall, PvP, pretty solid, but again, requires a high investment. Wilder Tower, exact same thing. To really be effective, definitely need to get a little bit more of the PvP aspect or a little bit more of the build. Now, Tarnos came out, and Tarnos was broken and still kind of is, guys. When it comes to, again, the PvP aspect, when it comes to the Temporal Rift, Tarnos is super broken. Treasure Scramble, super broken. If you're looking for a really solid PvP hero, Tarnos does incredibly well within that slot. Then we do get our next Awakened hero, which is the Awakened version of Solus. For the healing, for the damage, she, again, is probably one of the very high priorities in the Awakened. I would say between building her out or building the Awakened version of Brutus, not really going to make too much difference between the two because their utility are both very, very high. Then we get, unfortunately, guys, the super anticipated two Witcher heroes. We get Geralt and Yennefer. Overall, Geralt not really used in very many spots. We do see him in PvP if you have him really built. Yennefer in one formation within the Cursed Realm, but unfortunately not really seeing a ton of utility for either of these heroes and not really used in too many aspects of AFK Arena. Could have absolutely done a lot better with both of those heroes. Then we get Kanisa and Rook. Now, Kanisa and Rook, we know, were enemies prior to becoming Hypogens. But overall, guys, these two heroes, or one hero together, has really made a difference when it comes to the Curse Realm. Really solid showing in PvP. Utility on them is pretty good. Temporal Rift, we still do see them in quite a bit of formations because of their ability to really crowd control within the game. Works incredibly well. Then we got Neve. Now, Neve, of course, was the first one that really buffs up entities with her plus 60 engraving. Very cool to see the build because then they dropped the Awakened version of Baden. Baden, again, not an incredibly high utility with him. It seems, you know, Cursed Realm, he is in one or two more comps. But the way that I look at it is the sheer cost of building these heroes at these points, guys. It is incredible. With him being our 6th Awakened hero, we're still pretty limited with the resources that we can get in AFK Arena to actually build out most of these Awakened heroes. Going to be interesting to see what they do in the future and how it is going to go. Then we get, of course, Salakai, and then we get Palmer. Double support heroes. We have a Mauler, which, of course, Salakai, guys, absolutely big release with him. Big impact when it comes to the Mauler Tower. We've seen him again, very short-lived, because you can see, guys, 11-21, he was dropped. A lot of players built him. Then 12-5, Palmer came out, and Palmer stole whatever thunder that Salakai had. Literally almost replacing him in the Cursed Realm instantly as soon as he came on the scene, leaving Salakai right back to just the Mauler Tower, where he does really shine within the formations. But as a support hero, guys, most players do build out Palmer now. Again, kind of overshadowing the hero. And then we get our new Celestial hero, guys. Overall, again, Valanthi or V, having a lot of utility. We're seeing him in a lot of PvP specs. We're seeing him in the Celestial Tower. We're seeing him in the Treasure Scramble just absolutely dominating. It seems like he is going to be utilized in quite a few places. To me, in my opinion right now, guys, still a little bit too early to build him. I would probably just give it a little bit more time before we start seeing a lot more of the utility and seeing exactly where he does come in. Now, looking up here, guys, world bosses, we had the Dune Destroyer and the Swamp Corruptor. Both of those, of course, were kind of around our Awakened heroes and the events that we've seen around those. Of course, the Dune Destroyer made his way into the Twisted Realm. Very cool within the rotation. And then we also did have 2 Abyssal Expeditions, 6, 7, and 8. So we had 3 Abyssal Expeditions, but 2 different bosses. Remember, 7 was actually the debacle with the Broken Heroes. That they quickly went to an 8 right off the bat once 7 happened, with Marchand and going with the same hero there. Now, we have seen 7 new chapters. That is right, guys. 7 new chapters to AFK Arena in this year, which is crazy, as well as the skins. You can see here, guys, a couple skins in here. We got Peggy, we got Lucretia, and I'd like to see that they're utilizing heroes that we use. So when you look at Grez, Lucretia, when you look at Hodgkin, when you look at Raku, Scarlet, Rosaline, even Mishka, looking at Kren, those heroes we use. Some of them, like Pippa, not really too much. Peggy, not really used too much. The original version of Baden, again, not a lot of utility in there. But overall, guys, the skins are very cool, added to the game, especially if you can get them completely free, which is the way that I love to get the skins. Then, of course, guys, they have a breakdown of the heroes by years. You can see here, year 2022, 26 heroes arrived this year. 6 of them are Awakened. That is right, guys. 20 of our regular heroes, 6 Awakened heroes for a total of 26 heroes this year. You can see the only time that it was much higher is 2019, which now is going on, 3 years ago. 35 total heroes came up this year, down to 25, so they dropped actually 10 heroes out. And since that time, guys, it's pretty even kind of across the faction, as you can see right here. They've almost mirrored it year to year to year. Going back to 2020. 2020 was really a big year with 7-dimensional heroes. That's what kind of drove a lot of these numbers. But even looking, guys, an entire year of 2020, we only had 2. We had 2 Lightbearer heroes, that was it, and 2 Hypogean heroes, so pretty slim there compared to the previous year with 8. And then 4 and 4. So it's going to be interesting again to see what 2023 brings with AFK Arena. But I'm going to be here to definitely cover it. I wanted to check this out. We check it out once a year, guys, when this comes out from AFK Inside. So again, a big shout out to them. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.